All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Story in Verse. Woo! Woo! Every so often, if you're a person who uses a microphone, you'll go up to the microphone and then you'll hear your own voice and you'll be like, let's back up from that. Let's make that not happen anymore. That just happened to me, which doesn't happen very often. It's been a bit of a long day, but you guys, I'm so happy to be here with you all, because when I drove here, the sun was up. And that hasn't been happening. I've been driving here in the dark for months, and I know you all have too. So this is such a nice, pleasant evening. I'm so happy to see a little bit more of the sky than I did last time. I'm so happy to be here with you all too. So this is Story in Verse. For those of you who are first joining us, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. Anybody who's sitting in the back who perhaps feels like they would be intruding and wants to maybe come up front a little bit, that's also so welcome, and we love that. We will not bite. It's nice to have somebody to perform to instead of a bunch of empty chairs, so feel free to come on up here. I'm going to get into some of the guidelines about this event, and then we're just going to get right started, because I have actually a lot of pieces of paper, so we have a lot of words to listen to. So here at Story in Verse, we host storytelling, poetry, prose, spoken word, and anything else that's kind of in that spoken space in between. We have actually just celebrated our 6th year anniversary, which is so exciting. If you guys can believe it, we've been doing this for 6 years straight. So for the event this evening, we do not have a theme. That means that anything and everything that you have to say is open, and we are ready to listen. To the mic, please put your hands together for a poem by Ariel Campo. Ariel, come on up.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Is this thing on? Okay. I'm just gonna, can I sit? I'm just gonna tilt it. All right. I got 2 little poems that I wrote the other day. I'm nervous, man. I need a cigarette. Okay. So this first one is called After a Cigarette in the Park. So some days I stand breathless, putrid as a corpse, and I wonder, what will become of me? Then I see the red oaks, roots burrowed deep, dancing wildly with leaves outstretched like a red-headed lightning bolt. I see the mostly living fescues, arm in arm, strumming softly against children's little feet, or peeking excitedly out from the cold concrete. I see the peeling hickory rumbling enormously, the flagpoles and the flags, working, the women with their bouquets, the women without. I see soft hands, I see the calloused hands, I see the hair flowing beautifully. Most days I stand still, rotten, and I think, the wind will cleanse me. Okay. And I got this second poem. My dog died last week, or she passed away last week, so this was for my dog. It's called A Ghost, an Echo, an Empty Doorway. It's a funny thing, grief, how it fills the holes left behind, fills them with its throes and screams and concrete from a ravaged heart, with its infinite echoes of love. How it'll wake you up at 2:45 in the morning, hungry for a ghost that hasn't existed for some time now, a ghost that will not return. And suddenly, it's 7 in the evening, and the flowers have all wilted. How it fills every crook and cranny, and every crook and cranny now left vacant. And yet, how it makes the world kinder, much and much more, despite, and how it gives every moonrise meaning, despite, because of a sound once made, a breath once taken, a flower once bloomed, a memory once dreamt, because of a space once filled. That's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, up next to the mic for some poetry, please put your hands together for somebody who does not expect to go up right now, and that is Woody Karski Wilson. Woody!
expected. Okay. Our beloved poet and published novelist Puck was performer number 30 of the night last month, and yet even after 29 other performers, she kept our attention with motivating words, which I took to heart. A few weeks ago, I said to myself, I must review and pay the MasterCard bill, but I haven't written any poetry today. What would Puck do? Puck would watch anime, but she would say to sit and write. So that's what I did, expecting maybe 10 lines, which I might later delete. This is what I wrote. Entreaty from a noble soul. 'Twas the day before Sabbath in the town square. A clutch of notables and the noblest were all there, and as the taverns were full to overflowing, so was the outside crowd with evening winds gently blowing. My words were honey, but with a notable sting, for I had almost concluded quite a satisfying fling, except that fling was ended not at my command, but at the lady's, so directed by her man. This will not do, I cried, and true, the crowd agreed. Love must run its course, thus the gods decree. I dare not claim I had the sovereign right to play. That right had me. There's nothing more to say. But I had her for just a month and single day, and am I not a man comprised of mortal clay? Do I not worship once at end of work-filled week? Upon my knees head bowed, I surely dare not peek at him whose mercy inundates the land. Wise and perfect, I knew he would understand, as I also know out here must lurk my fatal foe. Yes, I see you, sir, and pray you go, you do not go, but hear these words, honest, humble, pure. I am sore afflicted, and your wife? She is pure. The rich among us in this teeming crowd must sometimes flee the city pestilent and loud, and claim for self a cure in sunny spot. I say to you, bravo, and also hurrah! Your ailment, like mine, afflicts with mounting pain, and so, dear sir, I must beseech again, your wife 1 week, no more, for she is special, not a tally, not a score that I marked upon my belt, and I have never hit her, not a welt, not a blow, except to fire Cupid's arrow, for I am the cat, and she the flitting sparrow. Oh wait, wrong metaphor. I guess I'm a wandering sparrow. Do sparrow hens have sparrow husbands? No matter. 1 week is all I simply ask. I beg you, sir, do not take me to task for the deed, nay, deeds, many lovely deeds are already done. And I agree we both can see the maudlin setting sun which descends in yonder hills with muted grace, a blushing flattered smile upon its sweet, approving face. Our relationship, which stood the test of time, a whole month, has drawn itself to close, which is no crime, but crime, I say, with boundless tact, if we refuse to play the final act. When first I met your wife, my soul was struck. I clung to her and pleaded, I thanked my cherished love when defenses receded against my oft-praised boundless charm. We clung, we kissed, we loved, and there's the harm. Yes, I was so struck, but her sudden denial strikes yet again, and surely striking me is but a sordid sin. Not noble, sir, no, just common and mean. Do not be angry. I'm not here to cause a scene. Could brother count you as dear friend, despite your cruel denial, which most would class as sin. Pray thee, sir, I offer compromise, and one which I assume you won't despise. All of you who hear my heartfelt words know I am the greatest painter in the land. Absurd it could be otherwise. My craft comes straight from God. I am his pliant vessel, the ground on which he trod. But I tell you this, sir, paint I damned well can. I will paint a picture to grace this wondrous land. I will capture her essence, soul to pigment bound. 1,000 years from now, her painting will be found in a gallery of similar works revered for brush and line, and all of them called great, but none so great as mine. This I swear to you that, wait, let me finish. Ow! Stop that! Watch the nose, sir. No, pray do not detain him. Let him wander off. He's a savage. 'Tis true, but pray you do not scoff. for I shall have my vengeance and do so with guile. I will paint her picture, but I will add a smile that no one will ever understand, an enigma plain to see, a smile he never saw, but which she gave to me. Thank you, Huck, for your great advice, and thank you, Mark, and the stand-in for Lillian, his wife. Thank you very much.
Lillian's going to be upset that she missed this. All right, we have our first micro story up. Tell us about a time you felt free. The moment I breathed in fresh air after 3 months in the psych ward. All right, up next to the mic, we have some spoken word. Please give a very, very warm round of applause to Priyanki. Priyanki, come on up.
Is this okay? Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone. I usually share poetry, but today I wanted to share a short reflection. It's something I found myself thinking about on Women's Day, about what it really means to be a human being, not just in name, but in how we live it. This piece is called Human Being Day. When a man shows emotion, people often say, "Come on, be a man." For years, I never questioned it. It was said so casually, so often, that it almost felt normal, something we did every day, like brushing our teeth. But one day I paused and wondered, why does a man need to be reminded to be a man? I thought maybe the dictionary knew something I didn't, so I looked up the definition. Man, an adult male human being. Woman, an adult female human being. Simple enough. Then why do we keep telling each other how to behave? Why must a man hide his tears to prove his strength? Why must a woman soften her voice to prove her grace? Let a man cry. Let him be vulnerable. Let him fail, feel afraid, and simply be himself. Let a woman be loud, angry, ambitious, a leader, or a role model. Let her say no. Let her choose herself. Let her laugh loudly, burp, or even fart without embarrassment. Because she too is human, not a carefully curated image of perfection. And honestly, why let at all? Perhaps because somewhere along the way we also become afraid of being judged, afraid of what people might say, afraid of what they might think, afraid of standing out. So we slowly begin adjusting ourselves to fit expectations that were never truly ours. These are not permissions to be granted. They are simply the rights of being human. Perhaps one day, instead of celebrating Women's Day or Men's Day, yes, it exists too. It's in November. You can Google it. We should celebrate something deeper. A Human Being Day. A day where we stop measuring people by expectations of gender and start recognizing each other for what we truly are. Human beings. Because appreciation and kindness should never be limited to a single day in calendar. And maybe then the endless arguments about how a man should be or how a woman should behave will slowly fade away, leaving behind something far more meaningful, understanding, respect, kindness. Because before we are men or women, before expectations and labels, we are simply human. Thank you.
Okay. Up next, we have yet another story. So please put your hands together for Mark Kranek. Mark, come on up.
This is such a work in progress. I'm still working on it right now. So this is called Shrive. One of the things that I hate about a lot of books is the preface before you start the story. Mine starts with the preface, though. Shrive is an archaic verb meaning to hear a confession, impose penance, and grant absolution, typically performed by a Catholic priest. It also means to confess one's own sins. It's often used in the context of medieval confession or the phrase short thrift. The heat was oppressive. Even with the wind blowing the trees and seemingly the volcanic mountain that appeared to list to the right, the sweat still trickled down Jake's back, through his shirt against the vinyl seat of his old Chevy Blazer. He pulled over to the side, and in a cloud of dust that enveloped him and the truck, he pulled a handle and opened the door. He crawled out, intent to stretch his legs and take a leak. He hadn't been driving that long, but his muscles in his legs, his shoulders, his neck, his jaw were tired and cramped. As the dust settled, literally, he could hear the waves breaking to the left and smell the mangoes growing wild in the nearby trees. How had it come to this so quickly? He didn't expect her to react that way, or with such fire. Touched a nerve, he guessed, a raw nerve. Well, so had she. It was that letter. Still, the anger escalated quickly. Standing in the kitchen, the midday sun bouncing off the linoleum counter in the small shack they shared, the pent-up feelings were palpable. They stood flared nostril to flared nostril, not trusting each other or themselves to not raise a hand in anger. So he left. He had to remove himself from the situation. Going out the front door, the grating squeak of the rusty hinge followed him, reminding him that he never oiled it like she asked. Whatever. Now there were bigger things to fix. Or maybe not fix. Climbing back into the orange and white Blazer, now coated in dust, he slammed the door, turned the key in the ignition. The engine fired, and he was aware of her standing in the doorway, yelling something. He left it in park, but gunned the engine, looking at her, touching his ear. "I can't hear you," he yelled over the big V8. Pulling it into the driveway, he spun the wheel, waited briefly as the tires struggled to gain purchase in the stone driveway, then peeled out and away. Away from the shack, away from the anger, away from her. The cassette he left in the tape deck jumped to life with sound. "Oh, she's a little runaway." Bon Jovi, Jake thought. Daddy's little girl indeed. Appropriate. Maybe it was he that was running away, not just leaving. That crossed his mind as he sped down the dirt road to where he wasn't sure. Anywhere away from here. The dust flared around him, flumed through the open windows. John Bon Jovi continued on as the synthesizer carried on. Jake just needed to go, to run away. Thank you.
So real quick, I just want to plug something. I do multiple open mics from a hosting perspective, and then whenever I can kind of find a space where I can sort of fit myself in to do one in another place, I like to try to get one in somehow in the crevices of any building or street corner that I can, because I think it's important to make sure that, many of us drive far distances to come to this open mic, but a lot of people can't do that. So it's important that we have these happen in more localized places. And I'm from Trenton, so I do a lot of work in Trenton. And so my next open mic is actually on Sunday, March 29th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Hanover Creative Gallery, which is at 219 East Hanover Street, and that's Trenton, New Jersey. So you guys can come see me after this or DM me on Instagram if you want more information about that. That's at Trenton Curator on Instagram. And I will send you all of this stuff. So we're starting up another one down there. So if you guys ever want to come around, it's the same format, storytelling, poetry, prose, that kind of thing. And it's a Sunday night. So if you're ever just like, I don't know, you can't keep driving all over the place to Jersey City and to just North or South Jersey, all over there, and you want to do a weekend thing, this is your weekend thing to do. So now that my shameless plug is done, up next, to the mic, we have some poetry. Our next poet wants us to know that they will not disappear like last month. Please give a very warm welcome to Niccolo Belcher. Niccolo, come on up.
Hey everyone, great to be here. Thanks for being such a great audience. Yeah, last month ran a little bit out of time with that pretty formidable group of people who were reading. Yeah, it seemed like a really exciting event, though. So I thought I'd start things off by doing a shameless plug of my own. So I don't remember if I have read this poem here before. I don't think I have. But this piece is called Scavenger. This one comes out in Prism Review sometime next month. So if you're interested, they sell copies of that online. So, Scavenger. This is after Mary Oliver's poem, White Eyes. On this cold afternoon, the greatest attention belongs to the scavenger bird who sits in the barren tree and with his yellow eyes watches the highway like it's the only thing in the world. Like me, at this darkening hour, he's hungry, but he knows dinner will not come all by itself. He must be vigilant. Look at him, up there scowling like a shrewd old shopkeeper, eyeing the price of meat. Squirrel, hatchback, pop. Deer, pickup, thud. He knows better than to joke about these things, a lesson I keep learning and will likely never stop. He doesn't have to try to restrain himself, subdued as he looks up in his treetop. Listen, he never even sings, just fluffs his wings against the breeze that might allow me to name him. That is, if he didn't know better. It's always surprising which one from a packet actually ends up finding a home somewhere. I was pretty sure that was the worst one in that group, and finds its way. So this one is called Mountain Song, kind of a persona poem from the perspective of a mountain. And it's sort of shaped like a mountain on the page. So, Mountain Song. God, am I tired. This morning passed like gravel, and there's still so far to go, reaching for the darkening blue bounds of atmosphere like a sunflower in a pen. Yesterday's flatness seems a lovely delusion, my loafing body of stone and soil against shifting plates like butter on agitated toast. It was déjà vu, being roused from that cat nap, my joints singing in the blister cold as they stacked slab by granite slab. I was propelled from within, the halves of my bisected self careening into each other with such force that the only escape was the heavens. After a few hours of explosive drive, I paused to rest and consider past lovers. There was the lake bed who never washed and wore dirty socks in bed, the grove of aspen who couldn't keep a secret. But none held the power to supify me so completely as you, oh blue ocean of my madness. Desire is a funny thing. Desire for a bluster of light and its winds, only more so. But I'm tired of it all, tired of pretending it wasn't you at the start of it. Breath of my lacking, pure evidence of all I cannot be. intangible, eternal. It was nearly noon by now, and I sighed a wispy sigh, drew myself up to my full stature, and wiped the frozen tears of glacial abyss from my sun-kissed face. Why does everything remind me of you? Feeling stronger as it warmed my jagged lips. Everything must pass through you if it hopes to get anywhere. I've made my peace with that. And I can hold this longing with me, just as I did my days of rest. I'll stand in rage or embrace with myself, crumble with cosmic night just as anyone would. Just know, as I settle in, who I reached for, what was lost in the reaching, how precisely, senselessly it hurt. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I'll do one more if I can find my way to it. Let's do this one. Yeah. This poem is called Fire Escape. Fire Escape. Amid the din of a dinner party, let us step out as if having pocketed a doily and wrap ourselves in a bundle of silence. I never liked these people. They juggle on their unicycles like so many circus bears, but never seem to change the color of their uniforms. Yellow never suited them. Not that I'm one to talk. Just look at the size of my lapels. In our cloud of loose air, a flag flies, embroidered with pale snakes, their many tails polished sheer by the wind of a harsh reality, with its incumbent buttressing spheres and vacant footballs. Moonlight reflects from the pinkish curl of a grandmother's eyelid. Sign language, her special skill, a debutante, wriggles her fingers as if to catch the trout-shaped tie of a businessman. All talking, all vibrate with gist, the stuff of incomplete knowing, and us washed in silence, aware but beyond the fraying postal code of this blunt epoch. You exhale smoke in a blue cloud. A damp tulip leans against the wall. Someone's made off with the vase. Thank you. Take care.
Tell us about a time you felt free. Every time I head in to dance in a tiny mini covered in glitter, wearing high heels, surrounded by gay men. The power, oh man, the handwriting is so elusive, and I want to know what that next word is. Aging. Agency. Hold on, we're going to do that one more time. Surrounded by gay men. The power of self-sexual agency. Okay. All right, we got there. Man. You know, it's funny too, because I can read cursive and I can write in cursive, but that's something that we're losing as a culture. Like, what are we going to do? Suzanne's keeping it alive. All right. Okay. Up next to the mic for poem, circle, line, spoken word, circle, line, or something. Please put your hands together for Puck. Puck, come on up.
Hello. Y'all like my outfit? Slitherpuff represent, except fuck J.K. Rowling, just so we're clear. Speaking of authors, I finished my first novel and published it in May of last year. So I too am joining the shameless plug committee. And sorry, I had strep a little while ago and my voice is still recovering. But yeah, I'm really trying to push my book to as many people as I can, and hopefully get like a foot through the door to find agency for my next book that I write. So if you are interested, you like what you hear, my author voice doesn't change that much. So if you're interested in hearing about my novel, please come find me anytime. Or you can reach me on Instagram at The Gentle Puck. And enough about that. So this that I wrote, I actually put on my thing, Brass did not read it, I am in love right now. I have found someone who is very important to me, and we're scheduling a future together. So that's why I wrote this. It is called See You Soon. Dear you, I don't know when you'll get here. I don't know what you look like. I don't even know your name yet. But I do know one thing. I love you. Now, let me apologize in advance for the world I'm bringing you into. There are some people who will try and limit who you become. There are systems put firmly in place that were never designed to support people like you or me. There will be days when it feels like the sky is falling and you're the only one who can hold it up, and no one else seems to notice. The world we live in is rough, but fret not, because as harsh and as careless as the world appears, there are good things in store for you too. One day, you'll beat your first video game boss and feel like $1 million for a week. You'll discover your favorite song and play it on repeat until it stops sounding like a song and starts sounding like home. You'll get your first A+ on a test, have your first crush, burn your first grilled cheese. But most of all, you'll always be loved. Sometimes I wonder if it's ethical to create something in a world that is clearly falling apart. Am I selfish? Am I just as cruel as the reality around me? Will you forgive me for pulling you down from wherever you are, only to have you tossed about like fragile debris in a storm I cannot control? I try like hell to build something meaningful out of the sticks and stones that I've been allotted. Perhaps it will be enough. I've been bruised, I've been threatened, I've been kicked and battered and destroyed. And yet still I build myself up again, and yet still I persevere, and yet still I want you here with me. Dear you, I'm so sorry that I can't promise a perfect and safe world, but I can offer you a safe place to land, an opportunity to be nothing but yourself, and most of all, a best friend for life, me. And hear my promise now. No matter what, I will always listen. I will always care. I will always believe you. And I promise to love you even and especially on days where you don't love yourself. And maybe when you get here, you'll help me in my goal of leaving the world a better place than when we found it. But make no mistake, I don't expect you to change the world. However, I hope by the time you arrive, the world will have learned to love you better. See you soon, mein Liebling. Love, T. Thank you.
All right, up next to the mic with a poem. Please give a very warm welcome to Samir. Samir, come on up.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So an open theme is an excuse to use some of your older stuff, which is something that Brass Rabbit also told me about, that you don't have to write something new every time. So this is me raving and ranting. So I think you should do it once in a while. The goal of civilization. The goal cannot be unrepentant pursuit of wealth or fulfillment of base desires, degradation of the earth, pandering to our wants, or wanton pursuit of power. While reverting to the Stone Age seems like a solution, it does not offer protection from each other in a long life. The Stone Age style minimalism seems like one way to achieve the goal, which is spiritual progress and realization for one and all. While the Stone Age did appear attractive in a previous year to me, it is not workable on a massive scale. Also, there are compelling reasons to not throwing away what we have learned and established. We need to carry our evolution forward while taking the best intents of what the mother wants. Devotion to each other is the goal, sharing in another aspect of it. Living free of conflict and accepting our differences is essential. Love, peace, fraternity, and sensible, all-encompassing advancements which don't victimize anyone is the way forward. How can we talk about the goal of civilization without talking about God? God is everywhere, in all of us and in all we do. The ultimate aim is to realize our potential, while realizing God and His/her wishes all around us. In whoever we engage or whatever we bear in mind as actions, our actions should be for the betterment of society, everyone in it, not just for elevating our station at the expense of the less fortunate in mind or ability. In that state of accepting all the strengths and weaknesses of human and non-human creatures, in wishing for the greater good of all, irrespective of differences, do we achieve God-like perception and the inner peace that lasts forever. All political structures that came to be have failed in one way or another. It is for like-minded individuals to rise to the challenge and propagate altruism as never seen before, rather than depending fully on governments to achieve equitable outcomes. Thank you.
So at Story and Verse, we have a lot of repeat customers, if you'll call them that, regulars, whatever you want to refer to it as. And many of them write their full names down on the paper, and then I just say their first name because it's taken me like 6 months to try to figure out how to pronounce their last name. So if you don't mind, I'm going to try to pronounce this person's last name, and then this person is going to probably say no. But let's all give it a shot together. All right, ladies and gentlemen, up next to the mic, Mark Poyani? Yeah!
That was impressive. I get piano and all these other derivations of it. Good evening, everyone. This time of year is always interesting for me when going from winter to spring, and it just puts me in a place, and these 3 poems came from it. First one's called Useless Meanderings. I sit at the kitchen table in quiet comfort, looking out the window at the barren winter trees. Not far in my mind are the experiences of abuse, neglect, jealousy, and hurt waiting to consume my time and live again. Why give them a moment? Nothing can be done to change the outcome or stop the result. Older now, I refuse to revisit that landscape. I would rather gaze and thought walk through the backyard, barren winter trees, looking for spring. Thank you. This is simply called Spring. What is the sound of spring? The melodious mating bird call? The quiet budding of the tall trees? The emerging hope of the hibernating weeds? The sneeze of pollen searching its mark, or the hum of insects exploring? I wait for the wind to move and sing the high trees and dirt ground into day's earliest morning colors, outlined in variation of soft, vibrant green, wanting the bass, deep tones and sounds of summer. Thank you. And this was a few Tuesdays ago where it was like that 80-degree day and everything. It's called Tuesday Morning. It's a goose-honked morning, arrowed toward the sun, high searching for a water landing, feathers bent in direction, compass wind outlining the path, instinct the only guide. Freedom and hunger are their day's motivation. As I, grounded, search for useless meaning in the bright day's promising shadows, thinking more noise than thoughtful nonsense. Thank you.
Tell us about a time you felt free. I left a library bored, which had required so much of my time, energy, and had so much drama. 2 years later, I am still saying, All right, give a very warm welcome to Rayon with some spoken word and poetry. Rayon, come on up.
Good evening. I'm Rayon, and this is my first time here, too. So this first piece I'm going to be reading is titled The Recovery. And it's a true story. A year ago, I was laid out, flat, back pressed into a hospital bed that didn't know my name. Arms threaded, veins occupied, machines speaking in beeps like they were counting down something I couldn't see. Not one tube, not two tubes, not even three. 15 tubes. Lines running through my veins. Like my body had become a battlefield wired for survival. Blood leaving, blood coming back. Doctors moving in shifts, hands on me like I was a question they were trying to answer in real time. And me, in and out, slipping between silence and sound, fighting for breath, fighting for thought, fighting just to stay in my own body. Because it wasn't just flesh on the line, my mind was drifting too, pulling away from me in pieces, like I could lose myself, even if my body stayed. That's the part nobody sees. The war behind the eyes, the quiet struggle to stay present when everything in you is trying to shut down. Most would have given up. Most wouldn't have made it. Let's just be honest. Their body would have folded under that kind of pressure. Organs waving white flags. Systems shutting down one by one. Most would have let go. Not out of weakness, but because the weight was that real, that constant, that unforgiving. This wasn't a moment. This was sustained trauma, pressure that didn't pause, pain that kept showing up like it had a job to finish. And still, I didn't give in. But something helped me, even when I didn't know I needed it, even when I wasn't fully there to receive it. A presence, a voice, love reaching through the static and finding me anyway. And now, a year later, I'm standing in the aftermath of what should have taken me out, breathing without machines, whole in places that were once breaking. No tubes, no countdown, no questions about whether I make it through the night. It's just me, still here, still carrying the memory of a body that almost gave out and a spirit that didn't give up. That's the recovery. Oh, well, never mind. It is too low. Yeah, it's too low. Oh, yeah. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. So, yeah, you could go to my website. I also have a book I publish. I'm a published author. My book title, thank you. My book title is My Thought Process. My website is rayonsinc.com. So the ink is INK and it's rayons with the S on it. Thank you. I appreciate everyone.
All right, up next to the mic for some poetry, please give a very warm welcome to Greg Goodwine. Greg, get up here.
All right, hello there. I'm thankful to be here tonight. It's always a good time. So I just finished reading the Bible, and I decided to kind of summarize it. So it's called the Biblical Ballad here. It goes like this. Eve ate the apple, that deadly fruit. Adam learned of evil, and the devil got souls to pollute. Their firstborn son, his name was Cain, got jealous of his brother, so his brother got slain. And then God said, here's sin's debut, but I'll remember not them things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. Then God called Noah as the sky was getting dark, said, hey, old man, go build yourself an ark. I'm going to flood the world, wash all that evil away, and it ain't going to stop till the 40th day. So go round up them animals 2 by 2, and remember not them things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. And then hobbled over old Grandpa Abe, and God said to him, it's time you had yourself a babe. So get ready to light up those celebratory cigars, for your family's going to one day outnumber the stars. Now your age may be about 102, but remember not them things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. And then there was Isaac, then Jacob, and Esau the beast, who gave away his birthright just to have himself a feast. So God said, it's Jacob I bless, with 12 to his clan, and with a libido like that, that's what I call a man. So let that be proof of what a man can do if he remembers not the things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. Now one of those 12 was a man named Joe, who had himself a coat all the colors of a rainbow. And in a fit of rage, his brothers threw him in a hole. But God said to him, bless your sweet soul. And one of these days you'll have to forgive them too, and remember not the things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. Then wandering in the desert was Moses with his staff, and from a tree of fire God gave a laugh, said, man, what you doing crying down in the sand? Stand up now and listen to the 10 things I command. I'm going to set my people free. That's what we're going to do. Just remember not them things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. And God kept talking into Moses' ear, saying, man, you may not believe what you're going to hear, but let me tell you about this place called the Promised Land, filled with milk and honey. Boy, it sure is grand. So you got to have faith, for what I tell you is true. Now remember not the things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. And God was giving him directions about where he was going, saying it's a far-off destination that you'll never be knowing, but you got to lead my people to the sea that's red, and I'll part them waters and kill them Egyptians dead. For I'm sick and tired of their hullabaloo. It's time to remember not the things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. Now across that sea Moses and his friends did go, and when on the other side they shouted, hello. And God said, go past that desert and establish your nation, passing on my laws to the next generation. Oh, can't they see that I saw them through? And as they remember not the things of old, behold, I'm doing something new. But for the people of Israel, times got hard, and they thought that God was no longer their guard. And they said to God, give us a king with a purple robe and a whole lot of bling. And this hurt God, and he was sad and blue. But he said, remember not the things of old, behold, I'm doing something new. So God sent the prophet Samuel throughout the land, searching for the person with the mightiest hand. And when he had found him, he anointed King Saul, who strayed far from God, and on his own sword did fall. But God is good, and he said, I'll show you who will remember not the things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. And God heard in the pasture a tiny shepherd boy singing songs of sorrow, despair, and joy. And God said to himself, there's one after my own heart. I'm going to help that young'un kill a giant with a little stone dart. And maybe the people will finally get a clue to remember not the things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. And when that little boy slung that hard stone, he sealed his fate to inherit the throne. And that's who we know as David the king. And he sure could fight, and he sure could sing. But God said, there's something greater that I got to pursue. So remember not them things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. And then many years later, in the land of Galilee, there was born a child from David's family tree, whose ancestors go all the way back to Abraham. And this small infant would become God's lamb. As God said, men need a savior. It's way past due. They must remember not them things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. So Jesus was born to a carpenter by trade in a smelly old manger where the horses neighed. And God said, here's my son, in whom I'm well pleased. And those who put their trust in him, their sins will be eased. But people will mock him and call him the King of the Jew. I wish they could remember not them things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. And Jesus became mankind's mediator after being led to his death by the kiss of a traitor, and his body was nailed up on the cross. But for humanity, there was profit in this loss. As God said, the death of my son I will undo, so people will remember not the things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. Then Jesus rose again on the third day, saying, I am the life and the truth and the way. And God said to men, let me give you this revelation. Believe in Jesus for your soul's salvation. There is no amount of work that you have to do. Just remember not them things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. Now here we are in this very day and age, with hearts still full of malice, hate, and rage. Oh, dear Lord, what a sorry condition, how humanity is doomed to such foolish repetition. So now Jesus says, it's up to you to remember not the things of old. Behold, I'm doing something new. All right, that's it. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
What a big undertaking. Yeah. All right, up next to the mic, please give a very warm round of applause to Karen Humphrey, a.k.a. Chaotic Hearts.
Hi, everybody. I'm here going to do my thing again. I generally read a poem and play a song that I created out of this poem that I wrote. If any of you have been through a divorce or suffered the loss of a significant relationship in your life, pretty much what I write about. So this one, I would say, is in my denial stage or maybe bargaining stage. I'm not sure what stage I was in when I wrote this, but it's called The Clue. You know I have a lot of feelings. You know my spirit was made for healing. You know my eyes the color blue, and the smile on my face when my eyes see you. You know my laughter and the sound of my giggle. You know exactly how to make me wiggle. You know my hands so smooth and soft. You know my heart for you is not lost. I make no promises, no guarantees, except to be cautious and consider our needs. That part's important, pay close attention. That part deserves a second mention. Caution is critical, time together is a must. Friendship to build, foundation trust. You know if I had my choice, I'd be listening to your voice. And in return, I'd impart this clue. It's the perfect time for me and you. That's it. Thanks for listening.
All right. Our next performer would like us to know that they are returning to writing after a long hiatus. Please give a very warm welcome to Vincent Mendoza. Vincent, come on up.
Good evening, everyone. I too am a virgin here. So this piece is called The Last Slice. My mother worked, came back with the kind of tired that gets down in one's shoes before you even know you're home. Apartment buildings, my 3 sisters and me, latchkeys. You know what 4 latchkey kids in an apartment looks like? Looks like a noise complaint. We didn't have a yard. We were lucky to have 900 square feet and patient downstairs neighbors. And then we heard her. No, we didn't hear her pull up. We lived in apartments. We heard the elevator ding. And she walked in. We didn't stop. We didn't even look up. She was home. That was enough for us. She went into the kitchen. And I want you to picture this kitchen. It was the kind of kitchen where 2 people standing in it had already decided on their relationship. And on that counter was a box. 1 box. 2 boxes meant it was one of our birthdays. 1 box was Tuesday. 1 box was, this is what we have. And in that box was the last cold slice. Pre-microwave, which meant she had to turn on the oven to heat up 1 slice. She took the actual time, found a plate, was going to sit down and eat like a person. She greeted us, we ignored her. She went to change, came back, took it out of the oven. The entire apartment smelled like pepperoni. She carried it to the table, sat down, and my middle sister, who was maybe 5, came running into the kitchen, which was just like every other room, and said the only thing she knew, "I'm hungry." She didn't think about it. She did not think about it. She picked my sister up, set her in that chair, placed that plate in front of her. I was 10. I was watching. I expected her to be somehow smaller. You give something away, there's less. That's how things work. But she wasn't smaller. She was my mother, standing in that tiny kitchen, nothing on her plate, somehow full. Nobody made a lesson of this. I just saw it in a room so small you couldn't help but see everything. That's the only way this gets learned. You can say words every day. They just become furniture, the thing you stop seeing. But I witnessed it. One unguarded moment, small kitchen, end of a long day. Mommy didn't know. I saw her.
Up next, our performer has some of the most font-like, geometric design-worthy handwriting. And I wish that I could show this to you all, but this is really something that should just be a movie poster font. Please put your hands together for Scott Allen. Scott, come on up.
Okay, sorry. There's a newbie in the house. Another one. Technology is my friend. Technology is my friend. Okay. Come on, cooperate. This poem is called For Awareness. Wherever I walk, beneath my footfall exists the being of the ancestors. Significance cannot escape the gravity of this meaning. Voices speak. For awareness, I am thankful. Too long lived oblivious, too long hapless, heedless, impervious. Post-colonial world prevailed. Ancestral voices speak. Their words enter my ears. Their words enter my heart. Their words inform me of all that exists beneath my footfall. What exists may be dry and dusty. Sorry, I have tremors. That's why it's not nerves, it's tremors. They call this essential tremors, so I suggest you all out and get out in some essentials. No, I don't. Come on. Could you? Okay, leaving off. What exists may be dry and dusty, yet their existence is alive, vibrant. Listen. Drumming, chanting resonates. Domain, sacred, fertile, flourishing, nourishing earth. Be aware of pulses, breathing, drumming. The time of ancestors cannot be swept away by wind or denial. My footfall does not assail their sacred domain, does not crush it. When I am aware, like a mountain stream, it rushes forth, bringing a newness, awakening, bringing reality, bringing spirit. Listen, heart and ears unblocked. Feel the drumming, feel the heart. Much remains for us under our footfall. Ancestors of the soil, of the air, of spirit. Every being has ancestral life, a tincture, an essence of history, a blaze of color, a breathing. Knowing what was allows how we become to be in the now.
All right, our next performer, and we only have 3 left, everybody, so if you have a late dinner reservation, you're gonna make it, don't worry. All right, our next performer would like us to know, writing is the painting of the voice. Okay, I didn't make that up, Voltaire did. Please give a warm welcome to A. Benedict.
Let's hear for brass, everybody. Come on. Night and day, you are the one. I'm not going to sing anymore because I'm the bum. Okay. Nice to see you all. So, you've got three different areas. You've got procrastination, motivation, transformation, kind of a nexus there, a string. And where they intersect is what I'm going to read. I'm going to read 3 poems tonight based on this intersection. First one, straightening up. Sitting, thinking about cleaning the cramped, cluttered basement, overflowing with boxes, overcrowding, holding unneeded memories. Trying to get off this uncomfortable couch is the hard part. Straightening up is even harder. A monumental task, feeling like rolling Sisyphus and his goddamn boulder up the mountain. Actually, the motivation is difficult as extracting a precious pearl from a stubborn clam, hanging on to its bejeweled prize. I'm sure the motivation will come tomorrow, but what if tomorrow never comes? Peeking, staring at a pink setting sun, advising me that today is a day of procrastination. Arising from the comfortable couch, marching toward the basement battlefield to tackle the armies of boxes, while maneuvering myself to the kitchen for more Frosted Flakes. The basement can wait, and if tomorrow never comes, the collection of junk and memories can also wait for another day. Thank you. This one is called Face Wash. While washing my face, watching the water pouring down the drain, wondering where it was disappearing to, questioning where the hell my life was going to, memories dripping and vanishing like drops from the faucet, standing, bare-chested, staring at the mirror's reflection with a coarse towel wrapped around my introspection, finding myself unrecognizable, water dripping down my face, water only, I wish, falling from my eyes, water floating back to the genesis of my demise. If the water could wash away my pain, soak through each defensive brick that I laid, flow into a river of regret, absolve each mistake I ever made, mourning the past at a funeral of rebirth, reincarnating and wanting to adore the rising sun once more, burying my past, digging, it's now done. Gratitude, glowing, growing, spreading over my skeletal trellis, covering old wounds, flourishing as I wipe my face dry, clearing away the inconsequential problems from my past. Thank you. So a lot of times you're thinking, you have problems to figure out in your mind. What do? You go for a walk, right? Well, this is an interesting kind of a walk. Leisurely walk. A man went for a leisurely walk, stepping cautiously upon every fluffy cloud he expects to hold him and his fear of heights, avoiding eye contact with the ground as far down as his hope. He peeks back at the footprints, noticing a pattern of mistakes and milestones, melting and mixing memories onto a palette of cobalt blue sky, painting his past travels, questioning himself about motives and faults, nearly falling off a cloud and into the abyss of self-blame, realizing that torturing himself serves no purpose except to inflict pain. Feeling courageous, floating faster, unhindered by missteps and errors, providing a sense of serenity to his soul, admiring the light, morphing into hopefulness. Clouds collecting below his feet and the earth below, underneath the twilight firmament, enlightening his third eye and opening his mind, recognizing that that previous slips and prior trips begin vanishing. Steadying himself, gazing from his 30,000-foot view from above, realizing he did not have to bear his burden all alone. Understanding now that even an hourglass needs a hand to flip time. Feeling more at ease, inhaling a deep breath, floating back down to terra firma, looking forward to future leisurely walks, even if they are on hard, rocky paths. That's great. Thank you.
See now, like, I don't even know if that's gonna, like, it doesn't want to work for me. It just likes him. All right. Up next to the mic, our next performer would like us to know, I have no stories to tell. Please give a very warm welcome to Suzanne. Suzanne, come on up.
And some of you may remember that I like to tell some sort of carefully crafted, curated, like all melodic type stories. They're super funny sometimes. This is not going to be one of those. This is like, I've been making decisions lately in the way where I decided to come tonight and put pants on. And that's about as much prep as I had. So I put pants on, I got in the car, and I got here, and I put my name in the bucket, and I was like, well, let's see what happens. And so here we are. And so I haven't been here in a while, and the reason for that is going to become apparent. Apparently, somewhere in the last 6 months or so, I decided I needed to change some things. But I don't even know if I realized it, right? Even through like doing ketamine treatments for 4 months and like life-changing, if anybody wants information, I'm like the cheerleader for ketamine. Anyway, truly life-changing. Then I decided I was going to, I saw myself in a video here on stage, and I was like, ooh, what happened? And so I started doing like everybody, I'm actually trendy, I did the injections, and I lost 20 pounds that I didn't even know I needed to lose. And then I decided that that facelift I'd always wanted might be kind of a good idea. See, my mom died last year. Many of you know she died last year, like in my arms died. And it was a long, cantankerous thing. And it released the Kraken and also some funds. And I was like, hey now, this thing that so like, I'd always said, watch. It's so different, right? Nobody else saw the difference except for my surgeon. And so he did that. And I actually just had my stitches out today. And so like I decided apparently that I was going to do some things differently. And one of the things I was going to do was I was going to sell my house and move this other mythical place. And so my boss said to me recently, you make decisions in a funny way. You sort of think, well, I'm going to do this thing, and so I'll do this next little thing and see what happens. And I explained he's much younger than I am. Everybody's much younger than I am. So anyway, although I look much younger. Anyway, so I explained to him that it's much like the Choose Your Own Adventure books, which some of you may remember and some of you might not. But you're like going down a hallway, and it's like, oh, if you go to the left, you know, you go down another hallway, it's a new chapter, and you meet, you know, a mythical, I got to say it twice, something. And then if you go to the right, you die. Like book over, start over at the beginning. And so I've been like, well, let's see what's down the hallway, you know? And so far I haven't died. And so I came back here tonight because I'm in the middle of this house process. And I put my house on the market, and it like went in a snowstorm, 2 blizzards. It went for full asking, contingent on me finding this place to live, which I cannot. And, you know, there's a thing about choices. Like, I suck at choices. I don't know if anybody else in here, like, I don't know what the hell my gut's telling me. My gut tells me, fuck all, nothing, right? And then the dreaded, no kids, sorry. And then the dreaded pros and cons list. Like, I can make everything equal on a pros and cons list, right? Like, looking at the houses, right? Like, you're like the bullet points. Oh, I won't have a yard for my dog Paco to be in. I won't have a dog. I won't have a yard to mow. Fuck, I'm still at net zero, right? So I have been struggling for this suitable housing thing. Because it has to have all the things that my current house has. It just has to be somewhere else. And that doesn't exist. So one thing in this whole changing thing, the spectrum I've got going on, spectrum is a good word for me, I've always wanted to be a grandma, right? Like, I knew wherever I was going to be, my cookie cutter collection, my apron collection, my knitting, my backgammon, that was all coming with me. I didn't know how it was all tying in, nor do I even know how it's tying into this story. My condolences. But, so my daughter has PCOS, and she has been told since the beginning of days that she won't be able to have a baby. And so I kind of put that aside. And I was thinking in my head, you know, I've always said if I was ever going to go missing, because I kind of consider myself Southern, if I'm ever going to go missing, I'm going to end up in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And I actually talked to a real estate agent out there. I'm like, load her up, you know? And then we went to go look at, my daughter and I met me out somewhere in South Jersey. I threw her a bone. And we went to this little shit box, yet another shit box in a row of shit boxes. And we come out and it's raining and it's cold, and I've got this whole contingency thing in my head, and all is embroiled in my new pretty face. And my daughter says, well, anyway, I guess we should tell you that we're pregnant. Like this, where's my Instagram moment? Where's like my announcement and a balloon and like a picture and a menu and all of these things? No, I guess we should say we're pregnant. And I'm like, right? So I'm like, we're pregnant. And so in addition to now, I know, right? Hottest grandma ever. Hottest grandma ever. Anyway, so now my head is still, I can't feel it yet. You know, a person who can't find a house recently took her whole face and had it put back. Like, what is up with courage? Anyway, and decision making. So, anyway, this person that I am is now going to be a grandma. And in addition to like, I have to figure out if it's got as many bedrooms and a bathroom and a yard for the dog and a garage for my 76 El Camino. I buy houses for my dogs and my car. And I have to do all that, and now it has to be near this grandchild who just developed an anus. Exciting. Week 11. Whoop, it's got a butthole. And so I've got to move. Oh, and I decided my grandma name, big moment for me. My name is Suzanne. People who like me call me Suze. So my grandma name is going to be Zuzu. Anyway, so the thing I now have to add to this whole amalgamation of things that have to be in this mythical house is weird now, this little butthole having being. And so I don't know where it's going to be, and I don't know how it's going to be. But just like coming here tonight, putting on pants. Anyway, just like putting on my pants, like I know my cookie cutters and my apron collection are going to be here. Next one. So anyway, thank you.
Our final performer for the evening will be JW Lyric. JW, come on up.
Salutations. Do not be fooled by frail appearances, or by a voice that is soft-spoken. This is not a portrait of weakness, not so easily submissive. The quiet do not always bark, but it does not mean that they cannot bite. As gentle as Jesus, and as he chased out the money changers in the temple, can be fierce. It is not the loud and furious who are truly powerful. They believe that they are just because. The uncontrollable fire that can be controlled, but the hindrance comes from pride and bruised egos. Meekness is not weakness. It is written that the meek shall inherit the earth. So until then, the meek must survive the raking of it. The quiet, the gentle, the humble, the reserved do not have tails. Therefore, there is nothing to tuck between the legs. So when dogs bark, there is no hiding in corners. In the presence of beasts, one should be still and let them be, or stand the ground of it if it belongs to the one. And the beast may run, or with a slight shriek, withdraw. A heavy stone that cannot be moved makes no sound. There is strength in calm. There is strength in stillness. There is strength in silence. Thank you.
So I first want to thank the people who help us put this together. You guys can't see it, but every single time I sit in that chair, when someone performs something, their arms go like this, like Muppets. If you want to turn around, like that's what they look like, and their arms are just going like this. And it's so fun! Those two silly people are the people who put this together and make sure the lights are on for us. So thank you so much to Fiona and Melissa and the Arts Council of Princeton. We are so grateful for you for keeping this space for us. Thank you so much to all of our performers this evening. Thank you to all of those of you who came to listen. My name is Brass Rabbit. I am so grateful to all of you, and I can't wait to see you on Saturday next month. Oh yeah, okay, so the other thing too is my actual job is I'm an art curator, which is like, it gets sillier, I know, I didn't think you thought that was possible. I have an exhibition opening on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, the 21st, from 6 to 8 p.m. at 219 East Hanover Street in Trenton, New Jersey, so come out to that too. Yeah. No theme for our upcoming one. If you guys have any other questions, come yell at me later on, and thank you so much, I'll see you next month.